What's up, guys? Cody Editon here with Rapid Response Roofing Podcast.
And we can talk about maybe some fun things that I think are pretty universal when it comes to folks getting into the roofing industry. Hey guys, welcome to the Rapid Response Roofing Podcast. I'm Justin. I'm the General Manager of Rapid Response Roofing. I have with me Zach. He is my insurance coordinator here at Rapid Response Roofing. Zach is our guy who writes our estimates. He deals with insurance companies, and he gets things overturned when he has to. I got to say, Zach, you've been working here for 4 years now?
Come up on 3 years.
3 years now, okay. The time, it just gets to me. I never know where we're at. Yeah. I would like to say a couple things about Zach. You're a really good example of how taking the time to develop your own methodology and to develop your own way of doing things really can set you apart and make you a really effective at what you do. So let me kick it over to you. Why don't you give me a rundown about your time here in Rapid and when you started, what that looked like, and how it led to where you are today.
All right, so I started a Rapid in May of 2023. I had kind of reached out and talked to Cody a little bit, piqued interest, and then it lined up, interviewed and started in May. Interviewed and started the next day, was ready to go. Started in the sales category. Learned how to door knock, learned how to go talk to customers, inspect roofs properly. Learned what all of our damage inspector sales guys are doing out there. Got that down, and then as soon as I was kind of trained up, they pitched me the opportunity to come in here and kind of help coordinate some of these insurance claims, help assist in estimating for them, assist when there's situations where something should be covered and it's not covered, and maybe we need to present something to the insurance company to help get that overturned. And over the past almost 3 years, I've learned a massive amount about how that whole process works, what actually goes into it, what the insurance is looking for, how detailed you really got to be when it comes to the insurance versus, some other situations like the insurance is kind of real specific about certain things. So you have to be real specific about your documentation. Over the past 3 years, it's been a crazy ride from learning everything about roofing, gutters, siding now at this point, the full roofing and exterior of a home, from being a person that didn't know anything about it to being where I'm at, knowing all sorts of things about it and knowing how to coordinate it with insurance and knowing how to explain these things to homeowners. It's been a crazy ride so far.
One of my favorite, and this is not me calling you out. This is something that I really like about your personality, the tenacity of who you are. When you first came in and you were doing sales and you were doing your role plays for the first time, you weren't doing too hot. You weren't doing too great. And then one time around the time you made the transition into insurance coordinator, we were like, who wants to get up and do role plays? And you're the first hand up. You're the first person saying, I need the most help. Clearly, I need to be doing this. Get me up there and do the role plays. And I think that really blew me and Cody away, because usually when you see someone struggling with something, they want to avoid it like the plague. But that was not the way that you did it. You saw that you were struggling with something and you put yourself at the point of friction and you said, I need to work on this. I want to do it right now. Get me up in front of everybody. Let me do a role play. And that spoke volumes to us. We learned pretty early on in business management that we want to hire the personality and train the rest. And what we saw was a very, very trainable personality there, someone that could be molded and who had the urge and the drive to be better than they were at that moment. And we absolutely fell in love with you at that point. That's when we brought you in to be an insurance coordinator. And at the time, I was the one that had developed that department, right? Yeah. And if you were to examine methodologies between you and I, they couldn't be any different. right?
Night and day.
Night and day. When I deal with insurance companies, I like to get on the phone. I like to talk to a human being. I like to make it a sale to the adjuster. I like to foster and develop a relationship over the phone, in person. I like to smooge, coddle, maybe argue with, right? Maybe I get a little bit heated on the phone because I'm passionate about what I do. And I remember kind of trying to put you through this training. I'm like, why aren't you like get in their faces, man? And you were just like, that's not me. And it took me a while to get used to it, but eventually you started working around that scenario, and you came up with your own methodology to communicate quite concretely to the insurance company without doing that. And you did a lot of that through email, through something that's well worded, through constructing a really well worded, I don't want to say email, but a well worded argument that it would be really hard for them to negate, really hard for them to deny once they saw your words on paper. Not only that, but you've gotten involved with guys like John Cenac and some of the other big folks in the industry who are really good at insurance claims. Tell me a little bit about your methodology.
I definitely would say there was a big shift last year after going to a class with Chris Zimmerman. John Cena, Chris Zimmerman have this whole course and training, and they're trying to help people because they have a lot of experience in the industry. They've been doing it for 15, 20 plus years, each of them individually. And they've witnessed this change in the insurance side of the industry since COVID, and how much harder it's gotten to work through those claims. And, as a contractor, you used to just be able to kind of deal with the insurance and get them to pay for the things, and they would just pay for it. They just accept your bid, cool, you have the pictures, yeah, here's your estimate, like, here, we'll pay for it, we're good to go. And then 2020, based on their experience, there was a huge shift. And now it's like you have to prove your entire claim like it's a court case every single time when it comes to the roof.
Right.
Specifically, it's sometimes not as much so with the other things, but the roof specifically.
Yeah, I think that we've seen over the past year that, insurance might not push back on you when it's the drywall, when it's the electrical, when it's the mechanical. But when it's the roof specifically, we're getting a lot of pushback. And I think we all know why that is in this industry, because there's a lot of companies out there, roofing companies, pushing bad claims, pushing the limits of the law, perhaps even breaking the law to get people to work with insurance or to file an insurance claim. But anyways, keep going.
Well, really, I just think that the biggest shift in my head was like, okay, well, it's not our insurance, it's not my policy, it's not our policy, it's the homeowner's policy, it's their claim, it's our customer's policy and their claim. And the issue that I've noticed that we've run into more times than not is that the homeowner doesn't fully understand, or at least from a general, decent, like, mutual level, understand what's going on in the situation. And then insurance calls them like, hey, did you know your contractor's trying to do this, and that, and they make us look bad. And then the whole thing falls through from there, and then we get a bad review or whatever it may be, and they think that we're trying to be the bad contractor, when in all reality, I'm actually trying to make sure that we're being the good contractor in the situation. And that's kind of the shift that I'm trying to push for more so going forward this year, and that we've kind of shifted towards last year in the way that we communicate with homeowners, that we make sure that they're educated, that we let them know, like, okay, we tried to handle this for you as best that we could as your contractor and go above and beyond for you. But at this point, this is what's going on. We need you to step in and handle this because it's your policy. You should be engaged in it. You should care about it. It's your home. If it's not, something's not being paid for that should be, and you only use your insurance once or twice in your life, you should be upset about that, in my opinion. I would be upset about it.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I think that, if you just look at the state of insurance in the United States, insurance controls a lot of our lives. Since the age, most people in the United States have been involved with an insurance policy since they were 16 years old. We're looking at big shifts in insurance, not just in homeowners insurance, but medical insurance and maybe not for the better. I'm not here to demonize the insurance companies, but I think there's something to be said. If there's a company out there, if there's an entity at all who has lobbied the absolute crap out of your politicians and made sure that their service is mandatory for your use, you should scrutinize that with every ounce of your being, because you have to pay for this service. And if you file a claim and you're treated like a criminal, that's an issue. And not every insurance company is like that. There's a ton of insurance companies we love working with. I'll name a few even. Awesome. We love auto owners.
I'd like to say it's not even just the insurance company, too. Sometimes it's the adjusters and the people and the way that they're trained and just the biases that they're given. It's not even their fault. It's just a systematic failure to train your people to do their jobs correctly and fairly to the homeowner.
I think that that's a really good point. That's a really good point, that there's a lot of biases that are kind of built into us just by the person who's trained you or by the environment by which you exist inside of your own company. Or bottom lines that your management is pushing that influence the way that you behave and the way that you look at claims and in an unbiased sort of way. Anyway, well, I appreciate you giving me that insight. I think that we could really use another maybe full episode on your methodologies on what you think is coming down the pipeline for insurance, especially in the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan has experienced crazy changes in insurance. Maybe in the future we can talk about MRP programs, DRP, whatever acronym you want to give to it, and how we see the insurance industry shifting in that direction here in the state of Michigan. But before we end this, another thing about you is you own your own company, and you're getting ready to kick that off the ground. What's the name of your company and what does it do?
So it might change in the future, but for now it's Automated Integration Services, or AIS for short. And what I'm trying to build there is a company that, because what I've already done is support a company, its growth over the past few years, and I'd like to build a company and a team of people that helps companies grow and supports companies in their growth. And maybe that goes down the marketing path, maybe that goes down lead generation of some sort, which is still kind of marketing, but business support services, and then leaning into kind of the new wave of technology and AI and automations and things that are coming out that are making it easier for companies to scale faster with lower costs and with lower overhead ultimately, and making that a sustainable system, and being a partner in a business that actually helps them build systems that are actually scalable and not something that's going to break, something that still needs a human to touch it every single step of the way to make it work. Actual automations or AI integrations into things that are actually going to learn and improve over time and make things better. And make everybody's job easier so that people can focus on higher level things as each individual person,
I think that that's great. I think, to liken to that, when I was doing sales for a tech company out of San Francisco, we were selling payment processors, but we were trying to sell more than that. We were trying to sell a full system that helped scale a company through reputation management, through inventory management, things of that nature, that we could put an all-in-one-stop shop where for the price of your payment processing on a monthly basis, we can give you all these other tools. Small business, a lot of business owners and a lot of folks in small business, they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest issues, and we've heard this kind of beaten into our heads over and over again, was know your numbers, understand your analytics, understand how different factors in your company might drive overhead or drive profit or drive revenue, which are three different things that all tie in to the health of your company. So being able to provide systems that help people see their numbers and understand where they at, where their failures are, what they can improve on, where they're being successful, to liken it to old military verbiage, what's your center of gravity? What's the thing you just do really well that you can base your entire concept around? And what's your critical weakness? What's the thing you just don't do very well that you need to improve upon? Make sure you watch out for losses there. Anyway, I think that you're a brilliant young guy. I'm really glad that we brought you on the team. I've seen an amazing amount of change in you, in your personal life, in your physical appearance. Zach,
If you see a picture of me when I started versus now, it's crazy.
yeah, you're at a much healthier position now. The difference between the Zach I met 3 years ago and the Zach sitting in front of me today is immense. You're doing a great job. Your whole life is changing for the better. And I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate what you do for us and the value you bring to this company. Give me a pound, my dude. So I can.
I really appreciate you, Justin. I hope you know that I look at you as almost like a older brother, fatherly figure in a sense. You're like my work bro, my big work bro, my big work dad, which is weird in a sense, but you're like a big brother to me.
Well, thank you, man.
So I got much love for you guys. Really do love you guys here. You guys have really helped me through some hard stuff in my life, and I really appreciate you for that. So.
Well, door's always open, my man. And same, I know if I have any issues, I can come to you, and kind of a give relationship that we have there. And, here's to many, many more years, my dude. So anyways, thank you guys for visiting the Rapid Response Roofing podcast. We love you. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment. We'll get back to you. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, signing off.